Colonial Williamsburg has some wonderful gardens that depict what gardens would have been like back in the 1700s, using only organic materials and methods. Now, if you want to see a very detailed look at this, go find my other video. In fact, I'll try to link it to this one, where I have a guide showing me through and telling me all about how they did everything. She was a wealth of knowledge, all about herbs, how to use them, all about how to build wattle fences. It was a wonderful thing. So you can check out that video if you're interested in that. But here I'm just going to show you through the gardens, what they had. Here, of course, is a cold frame. And this is a type of table trellis, and look, they've used vines. I have some of these vines growing behind my house. I'm going to have to look into this. They use some of them for tomatoes in another garden I saw, where they let the tomatoes grow up through and then lay across them so as not to get mildewy on the bottom. And then they have tons of herbs, lots of vegetables, and at the end you're going to see a glorious flower garden. Now here they've made channels in some sort of spiral garden. That's garlic growing in there in a spiral fashion with a channel going around. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I really wish the master gardener was here today to explain it to me, but it was very interesting. And there were several gardens I saw that had these channels dug through them. I don't know if it was to divert water or just to walk through or to stack different kinds of plants, but it was interesting. And here we see some beautiful curled parsley. Look how bright and green that is. And here we see rainwater being collected just right out in the open to be used to water the gardens. Remember, we're back 1700s now. I believe this is called cardone or cardoon. It's a type of plant that tastes very much like celery, and they use it a lot in soups and stews. Violas, aren't they beautiful? You can eat them too. And that's an example of wattle fencing, where the sticks are woven in and out. The tighter the weave, the more you can use it to hold back soil. Like making a raised bed even. And here's some sticks that were cut, straight sticks. I think they're from the chaseberry tree, to make a trellis. Here we have carrots coming up. Peas. That's what that trellis is for, to take the peas. Come back in a month or two and the thing will be covered. Here we have some beautiful rainbow chard. And see the glass bell covers? I forget what you call them, but they didn't use the word cloche here because that was French, and they were not friendly with the French in the 1700s. They do have plants for sale here. Unfortunately, not at 1700 prices. They're at our current day prices. But they had a lot of the plants that you might think they would have grown back then. Some very familiar to us and some not. Now here's a nice example of that wattle fencing that is woven together. And over here we have some broad beans growing, dwarf broad beans. And right next door to those are Sicilian broad beans. Here's something I have seeds for and want to plant, horehound. And you can make horehound candy from this, which is delicious. And this is calendula, not only a beautiful flower to help with pollinators, but it's said you could infuse it with oils and use it for skin treatments to soften the skin and lotions and bars for a minor skin irritation application and even for healing properties. I'm not making claims, but this is what I've heard. And now we'll go past the beehives and bell jars to see a very beautiful flower garden. At the marketplace, you can buy articles of clothing, you can buy woven rugs, you can buy pretend guns and swords, and documents, and different things related to the 1700s to take as souvenirs. One thing they're doing now is having an actual architectural dig where you take stairs down to an area that's been dug out and you bring your tools and your buckets and you start scratching around, and every day people are finding artifacts.
Until you find so dig until you find something so
Sorry?
Kinds of odd stuff. So these things, that is a piece of wine bottle glass. I call this the bad habit section over here. You know what these are? What they look like. They have little, this is a little clue here, they have a little hole in the middle, so they're part of a pipe stem.
It's free to walk around the community, but if you want to go inside the buildings and see the craftsmen at work or see some of the outdoor special exhibits, you need a ticket, and that does cost money.
His intent is to sell you the finest of wares. And all of the tradesmen decided to aid him in all of his business affairs. If you've gone to a trade to see a thing made and want to get a souvenir, for quality items you know where to buy them. The Prentice Store, that is right here.
The Prentice Store. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, anything
Wonderful item.
that is made in our city is sold right here.
Yes.
Legs, ready, out, little full cock. That's what's on the left side of your body. It should not be. It should be vertical.
You're the greeter. Thank you for greeting me.
And I answer questions and help people find where they're going.
All day outside, then you probably do cover yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
You visit Southern California, they're skinned both in the cold and in the summer, and a lot of that involves bear grease. And there's
Okay.
a level of
That's
so in the
right.
summer, in the
I've
winter
read that.
months, they cover themselves with bear grease because it helps to keep them warm.
Yes.
In fact, there's accounts here of the native people only putting themselves, covering themselves.
Prior to that, all the buttonholes, all the uniforms, all the millions of men who fought in the First World War were all done by hand. More than a few buttonholes in World War II.
That it's only the elderly.
So it really is just a
Somewhat cold.
different way of going about it.
But that's the
Buttonhole.
which you know.
As we were leaving Historic Colonial Williamsburg, we happened upon a couple of people who looked like they were doing an architectural dig. So we stopped by and asked, and sure enough, they told us that Colonial Williamsburg had acquired more property, and before they included it into the historic section, they were doing testing on the land to see the history of it.
So are you,
large scale project.
like, basically what kind of stuff you looking for?
So we look for two things. We look for artifacts and we look for features in the soil. This is that's what we call subsoil, and that's the bottom for us. So that's when we hit that level. That's when we start looking for those dark stains in the ground to let us know for posts for buildings and fences and where plow scars are and things like that. So this is as deep as we're going to go right here. But this is also where we can look for evidence of architecture.
You have an interest in this. You doing this at school?
I studied it at school.
Okay.
I graduated from William and Mary, and now I work for Colonial Williamsburg.
Awesome.
Doing this.
So,
Okay.
are you an archaeologist?
I am.
That is pretty cool. like Indiana Jones.
Believe it or not. They're out here.
This is
Just on
the
side-
lost temple
they're
of
just
the
sitting
Ark
on
or
the side of
something?
this road. They're not.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. It's interesting.